here's my exciting Saturday evening. I spent half of the day working on my yards, getting the lawns all mowed and edged. Just cutting back some of the plants too. Needed to be done before we get more rain. It was still pretty damp out there. Yes. Using my new deck as per inspiration by Rebecca, the good wife. And I have a little gin and tonic there. I'm gonna go back to reading this book later. It's very good. And then I got this one, which looks really good too. I've got like a whole stack of books to read. And there's Avery. She had a kind of a boring day. I made myself some coleslaw and I'm gonna cook some eggs with some potatoes that I cooked. But I'm having my cocktail first. Here's my little bouquet from the garden, some tansy, and I don't even, those are a type of sunflower. I don't know what they're called. And I will show you what I had to do this morning. I had to pick my pumpkins because they were getting kind of, turn this light on here. Come on. They were getting kind of weird because they were laying on the ground and I think they got chewed on by bugs probably, and then it was real damp outside. So I noticed that and I thought, you know, it's not drying out anytime soon. I probably better pick these guys and bring them in. This one's not as bad. So I'm keeping them here in front of the dehumidifier to sort of dry them out and see if that will help get the skin to like toughen and seal right there, so I can at least kind of have them until, you know, until the fall. But that's not bad for something that I really hadn't intended to grow. And I think as well, if I put them in the sun at some point, they will continue to turn more orange. I did a couple of, oh my goodness, I'm gonna sneeze now. I did a couple of prints yesterday that kind of, I'm working with this other idea here. Let me see if I can put you down here for a second. Oh, sorry. It's a little boring there. Sorry about that. Hang on. I'm just bringing out the prints because I was flattening them. I kind of did these quickly, so it didn't turn out as well as I'd like in some ways. So I'm using the thick turmeric and lime. It's not exactly a paste, but and I'm using a bag to squeeze it on there to make a shape. Again, this is like a goddess shape like I've done in some of my other pieces, and I thought, well, I want to try that. And I did it with elderberries, but the elderberries really didn't change or give any extra color. And then this one is just with the elderberry branch and the elderberries below. They're better as they're curing. When I first took them down, I wasn't real pleased with them, but as I'm letting them sit and cure, they're growing on me. I did these kind of quickly. What I did was that I was going to camp yesterday and I wanted to get a couple prints out I had gone to get a board and some new plexi and all of this, and so I thought, oh, I want to get a couple of prints out. So I coated my paper, and then I dried it with a hair dryer, and then put another coat of the sensitizer on. And what happened was that because I dried it with a hair dryer instead of letting it dry naturally, it kind of got wavy. It rippled a little bit, and then when I put and didn't have a chance to like flatten out. And then when I put the second coat of sensitizer for the wet sensitizer, some of the sensitizer kind of accumulated in certain places. Didn't really pool, but it just absorbed in a weird way. And so then when it exposed, it didn't quite look right to me. But as it's sitting, it's looking better. But in the meantime, I coated a large piece of paper and another couple of longer ones again yesterday, and those are still drying, and I have some more cloth sensitized that I'm gonna start working on a new set of flags. So depending on what the weather is tomorrow, because this is like a fully sunny day, I probably should have gotten something out today, but I had to do the yards. Anyhow, I'm gonna, I have a little bit more elderberries left to use them in another piece, and I need to refine my application technique for the figures, but that's what I've got going on. And I also have spoken to somebody that I know up in Rockville that has some artist studios. She has a couple of buildings and they have gallery space, and she said they'd give me a show. And the first opportunity would be in February, which is fine. I was afraid she would say, how about October? And the other thing about February is that the weather can be very unpredictable. But in any case, that might just be fine. At some point, I'm going to get up to Northern Virginia area and be able to go over into Maryland to see her and bring the work that I have, because I'm just still not I'm not feeling as confident about it as I would like to, and I want to show her the work in person rather than having her see just the JPEGs. So anyway, so that's what's going on. We're just having a kind of relaxing evening here. I'll do some reading. Maybe I'll watch a movie or something. I don't know. Make my dinner. It wasn't too bad. It was actually only in the 80s today, but it was very, very humid. So I feel kind of dead after being in the yards for a good, I don't know, 3+ hours, I think. But everything looks good anyway. I'll walk you out here for a minute and show you. It's my elderberry growing, not elderberry, mulberry. I planted a mulberry right out here, and that's a pink blueberry, and then some more of a blackberry there. But I got the yards all tidy. Not that I sit out here for any length of time just because of the bugs, but I could sit in my porch. It's not too bad out, really. It's just, it's been very humid this year. I think this is my fifth summer living here in Virginia, and I'm thinking that this is probably the most humid summer I've experienced here yet. We've had 40 inches of rain since the beginning of the year, and our annual totals are usually 43 inches. So that's just some indication of just how much rain we've had, which is good. It's better than being in one of the places where they're having fires and everything's dry and it's hot and all that. But it's good for some of the plants, and others of the plants it's not so great for. But you know, I can't really complain too much. Anyway, I hope you're all having a good Saturday, folks. All right, bye.